Hello guys, how are we all doing? Welcome back to Champions League predictions. The Champions League is back and we are down to the knockout stages. Only 16 teams left fighting for places in the quarterfinals of the game's elite. Today, of course, we have predictions for the first legs of the round of 16 games. Make sure, as always, guys, to share your predictions down in the comments. Let me know who you think is going to win these games as we head into the second legs in a few weeks' time. Make sure to drop a like on this video. Go on, let's go for 999 likes on this one. Whether you're a regular viewer or a new viewer, make sure to hit the thumbs up button. It's free to drop a like and it really supports this video. The final thing to do is make sure you are subscribed. It's free to hit the subscribe button and we are so close to 56,000 subscribers. Make sure to subscribe for more football content. With all that said and done, let's jump into predictions for the first legs of the Champions League round of 16 games. We are starting with FC Copenhagen versus Manchester City. Really interesting matchup this. Do feel a little bit sorry for the FC Copenhagen fans drawing Manchester City, which is on paper possibly the hardest game you could have got in the knockout stages. But let's see how they get on. They did qualify from a very difficult group. Let's not forget FC Copenhagen were not the favourites to get through their group. They were grouped with Bayern Munich, Manchester United and Galatasaray as well, and they did get through in second place. They take on Manchester City though, who won 6 games out of 6 in Group G and so far have scored the most goals in the Champions League in the 23-24 season. Haaland has already got 5 goals in the competition this year. As for this game, FC Copenhagen really need to try and stay in the tie before it goes back to the Etihad if they want to have any chance. They are currently 3rd in the Danish league. Manchester City currently sits 2nd in the Premier League. Obviously, Manchester City could still complete a treble this season with the Champions League, FA Cup and Premier League still up for grabs. Manchester City are known for winning trophies. They are currently the holders of the Champions League. FC Copenhagen scored 8 goals in 6 group games in their group, and I have a feeling they might score in this one, but with Manchester City, they are just too strong. I do think they are going to win this and have a pretty healthy advantage going into the game at the Etihad. Let's go for FC Copenhagen 1, Manchester City 3. I'm going for both teams to score in this one, but I do think Manchester City will take an advantage back to the Etihad and advance to the quarterfinals. I make them one of the favourites to win the Champions League this season. As for FC Copenhagen, it would be great if they could cause somewhat of an upset, but over 2 legs, I do think Manchester City will get through to the next round. Next up, we have Red Bull Leipzig versus Real Madrid. Real Madrid are the leaders of La Liga and they got through their group with 6 wins out of 6 in Group C. I do make Real Madrid one of the other favourites to win the Champions League. At the moment, I'm probably looking at Man City, Real Madrid, possibly Bayern Munich. There's a couple teams. As for RB Leipzig, can they get anything from this game? They are currently 5th in the Bundesliga. They have got a Pender who's on 18 goals for the season. RB Leipzig won 4 of their 6 group games in Group G. But they are struggling for clean sheets. It's only 1 clean sheet since October in all competitions. So I do think Real Madrid will get on the score sheet. I have a feeling Bellingham might score. He's already on 4 goals for the Champions League this season. Gonna go RB Leipzig 0, Real Madrid 2. I do feel like a Real Madrid win is coming here. And once again, over 2 legs. If they don't win this one, I still think they're going to win overall and get to the quarterfinals. So I'm going to go RB Leipzig 0, Real Madrid 2. Real Madrid to take an advantage back to the Bernabeu, and I do think they'll probably end up in the Champions League quarterfinals as well. And I do think Real Madrid could get to the Champions League final this year. I have a feeling it could actually be a Real Madrid-Man City final, but that all depends on the draw. Next up, we head to Italy, where we have Lazio versus Bayern Munich. Bayern Munich, another team I think could win the Champions League this season. Bayern Munich currently 2nd in the Bundesliga. Harry Kane is already on 4 goals in the Champions League this season. As for Lazio, currently 9th in Serie A. They came 2nd in Group E. They have been struggling for goals recently, whereas Bayern Munich, as I said, they've got the likes of Harry Kane, Müller, Sane, Musiala as well. I do think they're going to win this one. With Lazio being at home, maybe Lazio can get on the score sheet and try and keep it close, but I do think Bayern Munich will get through this. They are strong favourites. I'll go both teams to score on this one. Going to go Lazio 1, Bayern Munich 2. I do think Bayern Munich will win this one and head back to the Allianz as strong favourites to also get to the Champions League quarterfinals. Lazio 1, Bayern Munich 2. Next up, we head to Paris for PSG versus Real Sociedad. This one could be interesting. PSG have done okay in the draw, considering they came 2nd in the group of death, Group F. They've done all right here getting Real Sociedad, who are not to be underestimated. Real Sociedad did win Group D with 3 wins and 3 draws, so they are undefeated in the Champions League so far this season. They currently sit 6th in La Liga, so maybe they might be focusing a little bit on the Champions League campaign, knowing that they've got a decent chance of getting to the quarterfinals after winning their group. But as for PSG, although they only just got through their group, I do have a feeling they'll win this one, and they've got to win while they've got the home advantage. PSG are currently top of Ligue 1. They've scored 25 goals in their last 7 games in all competitions, which is a lot. And I do think Mbappe will get on the score sheet in this one. Gonna go for a few goals in this one. PSG can't be complacent in this one with the home advantage. So I'm gonna go PSG 3, Real Sociedad 1. Like I said, PSG do need to get some advantage from the home game being first, and I think they might. But I don't want to underestimate Real Sociedad, who've been pretty tight at the back, but I do think PSG, if they go all out for it, will get the win. Going PSG 3, Real Sociedad 1, both teams to score for me. Next up, we are back in Italy for Inter Milan versus Atletico Madrid. This is possibly my favourite game out of all of the games in the round of 16, because I do think this one could be close. Now, Inter Milan are top of Serie A at the moment. They came second in Group D with 3 wins and 3 draws. They take on Atletico Madrid, who won Group E with 4 wins and 2 draws. So both teams are undefeated in the Champions League so far this season. Atletico Madrid currently sit 4th in La Liga at the moment, and both Morata and Griezmann have 5 goals each in the Champions League so far this season. They did get quite a few goals in the Champions League group stage. They smashed Celtic 6-0 in one of the games as well. As for this game, I do think it could be close. I don't know who's actually going to get through here. Inter Milan, of course, got to the Champions League final last year. Atletico Madrid are a solid team. They've won their group. Going to go for a 2-2 draw. I think this will be a draw, and I could see the second leg also being a draw. I do think the games between these two are going to be very, very close. As I say, Inter Milan have done really well so far this season. Atletico Madrid did really well in their Champions League group. Going to go for a draw and both teams to score again. Like I say, I do think it'd be close and it could go the distance. I'm not sure which of these two will get to the Champions League quarterfinals. Share your predictions down in the comments. I'm going for a draw. Next up, we go to PSV v Borussia Dortmund. This game is also quite interesting. PSV currently top of the Eredivisie division. Borussia Dortmund 4th in the Bundesliga. Borussia Dortmund do deserve a lot of credit though, because they won the hardest group on paper in the Champions League group stages. Group F, the group of death. They got past Newcastle, PSG and AC Milan. They now go to PSV, who came second in their group behind Arsenal, and PSV were the only team to qualify for the Champions League knockout stages with a negative goal difference, with a minus goal difference. They do have De Jong, who's on 18 goals for the season, but Borussia Dortmund have the best defence in the Champions League so far this season. They've conceded the fewest goals, only 4 goals conceded in 6 group games, and they're also unbeaten in their last 4 away games in the league and cup in Germany. I think this one will be low scoring. I don't think both teams will score in this one, and I do think I'm going to go for the away team. I'm going to go PSV 0, Borussia Dortmund 2. I do think Borussia Dortmund will head back to Germany with an advantage over PSV. So my prediction is PSV 0, Borussia Dortmund 2. Share your predictions down in the comments for that one. The next game is FC Porto versus Arsenal. FC Porto are 3rd in the Portuguese league. Arsenal are 3rd in the English Premier League, of course. Arsenal did well to win their group. They won Group B fairly comfortably in the end. FC Porto won 4 games and lost 2 games in Group H and came second just behind Barcelona. FC Porto did do pretty well in their group, but this is a difficult game here because Arsenal did very well in their group, and I do think Arsenal have a good chance of getting quite far in the Champions League this season. Arsenal are no longer in the Carabao Cup or the FA Cup. They could still go for the Premier League title, but they also, like I say, have a good chance of going far in this competition. So I do think Arsenal will go strong, and I do think they will win. If they can get some win away from home going back to the Emirates, that would be good. I'm going to go FC Porto 0, Arsenal 2. As for the goal scorers, I do think it could be Saka or Martinelli, possibly Trossard as well. If I was an Arsenal fan, I would fancy my chances to get through this one. Don't want to underestimate FC Porto, who did do pretty well in their group, and they're still a pretty solid Portuguese side, but I do think Arsenal will get through this one, and I think they'll win the first leg 2-0. On to the final game then, and we have Napoli versus Barcelona. I really like this one. I think this game could be quite close as well. Wouldn't surprise me if this one finishes in a draw. Napoli, they are currently 7th in Serie A, but they did get through their group in the Champions League, of course, coming 2nd in their group behind Real Madrid, which is no disgrace. Real Madrid, one of the favourites to win the Champions League and top of La Liga. As for the goal scorers, Napoli have got quite a few. Osimhen, Kvaratskhelia, Politano. As for Barcelona, they've got plenty of players that can score goals. Torres, Lewandowski, Gundogan as well. Barcelona are currently 3rd in La Liga, and like I say, they did win Group H. They did lose 2 of their 6 games though, which was a little bit of a surprise. As for this one, I do think over the 2 games, Barcelona are the favourites to get through. But maybe Napoli can get something from the first leg. Maybe this one could be a draw. I'm going to go for more goals. Both teams to score. Napoli 2, Barcelona 2. I think this one will be interesting, and I do think it will be settled at the Nou Camp, as the first leg for me is too close to call. They've both got goal scorers, so I'm going to go for both teams to get 2 goals. 2-2. So then there you have it. That completes my Champions League round of 16 first leg predictions. Make sure to get down in the comments and share your predictions for the first leg of the round of 16 Champions League games. Like I say, we will be back for the Champions League second leg round of 16 games in a few weeks' time. So make sure to subscribe so you see more of our videos, and make sure to hit the thumbs up button as well. It's free to like and subscribe, so get involved with both down below. Like I say, if you'd also like to see Europa League predictions in the future when we get to the round of 16 in that competition, let me know down in the comments. As for now though guys, that wraps up today's video. I will see you in the next video. Peace out.